Hello.
We're live.
We're live, coming at ya.
We be live. Hello. Say your name. State your cases. I should probably tell...
6 people. Hi.
Sup, friends?
Who are you? I'm Jake. This is Brandon. Say it with a question mark.
Swaggity swag swag. Oh, judge on a 3.
Hello.
Guess they don't like our faces.
Hello.
Oh, I forgot my water.
Hide your face.
Damn it. Losing my shit, man.
Hey there,
Sup,
Austin.
dude?
What's going on? You'll see me squinting in a new direction because we have a new monitor for this. So I don't have to squint as far, but I still have to squint to read your text. So we are starting with you, Austin, so it's good of you to be here. Got Austin, Jackson, and Daniel.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Oh, I think he's on Discord as that,
Oh.
but I
yeah.
haven't been introduced. So
Yeah, so it's like funny how like we talk to a lot of
Hey,
people
Daniel.
on the Discord, but usernames can be weird sometimes.
yeah.
What's up, dude?
So I just put 2 and 2 together. Daniel
Daniel Pinto.
I'm seeing like Daniel at MOUXY. I'm imagining that's you. It's the same
Mousy?
picture. And I know that you're on Discord, I think maybe as that username, but you're not in I don't think you have your account attached to Patreon, unless I'm just like forgetting, because you should be in the office hours, I think. So maybe we can get that sorted out after this.
We'll figure it.
Hit me up. Yeah. No, don't.
You're good.
Don't worry about it, dude. Just message me on Discord after this, and like, actually, yeah, right after this ends, because that way, if you want to get into the next chat and all that, because there's stuff that goes on there. We want to get you in on that. Good to have you, and it's nice to have your submission. I think is this your first submission?
Yeah,
for this.
I don't know if I've seen you in here before. It's a good time. Welcome.
Yeah. Unless we're both just spacing, which
is
sorry.
totally possible. I slept well last night, but I didn't have quality sleep. I slept a lot of hours, but I just didn't sleep.
What's a lot of hours?
Well, I had about 7.5, 8.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had that too. I see more concurrent viewers. State your case. Who is it? Who am I talking to?
Saw dudes.
Yeah, I had a weird night too. Very Impossible Spaces dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, also, do any of y'all know what this is?
Bring it close. Close.
That.
Mute you.
But if you do,
Thank you.
let me know your thoughts or your questions or whatever, because it's not that I just got it, but I've been using it a lot more recently. I'm leaning towards the glowy one.
So Brandon was leaning towards the glowy, and I was leaning toward the other one.
I understand Jacob's position.
Hey, Francisco.
The difference is, Francisco, I haven't seen you in a while. The difference is, when it's a thumbnail online, I think the most important thing is to make sure that the important bits are the biggest, and the most defining factor of the 8 Pro is the camera design, as well as the OnePlus logo. So having that larger, and I think having a bit more separation from the boxes sort of helps. But yeah, no, both look good. I think I'll post the wider one to Instagram.
That's a good idea.
At a later
Speaking
point.
of which, we have to finish. This is a reminder to you. We have to respond to that weird Instagram promotion.
Oh yeah.
Alex totally
So strange.
Very weird. Francisco, I don't want to call you out, but I haven't seen your stuff since we've made the new Let's Talk submission stuff. I haven't seen any of your photos.
Yeah,
so
let's see your stuff, homie.
I know things are hard, and it's hard to get out and photograph. Speaking of which, I actually had an idea. This is the first time I'm floating this by Brandon, and so it's the first time I'm floating it by you too. But Brandon and I have been talking about kind of creating like a challenge series maybe, for like all of you, all of us. And I was thinking of one, and it could just be like, it's something I've been seeing like on Instagram and like all over online. I follow a lot of dancers online because I work with dance. And so it's easiest to see dancers do this, but like working with, the confines of your house, working within the space, the very limited amount of space you have, and like filming yourself, like choreographing within like the corner of a bathroom or something really interesting. Yeah. And I was thinking about like how cool it would be. Actually what sparked it is I was thinking, man, we need to make more, like another couple sets of wallpapers to throw up on the site. Yeah. And I was thinking it would be cool to make a pack that was like all macro shots of inside, or all like really intimate spaces. And oh hey Garang. Like that would be a really cool challenge set. Like it's not impossible to continue making art inside, even if you're somebody who likes to take landscape photography. Like, what does the landscape of your kitchen table look like, and how do you frame it as such? Or something like that as an example. So I think it'd be really fun to like maybe come June. I think we'll probably sit on it for a little while, and come June or July, we'll like try to figure out how to like legitimize a challenge set.
Also, let me open the doors to you guys a little bit. If you guys have any suggestions about wallpaper packs, and like if there's sort of a better buying experience on your end in terms of like maybe individual wallpapers or like certain colors or like whatever, I'm open to suggestions because I'm not like dead set in that format.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
That makes sense.
I agree with you. I was explaining a bit earlier. I don't know if you were here for that, but I was saying like I always find it important when, especially with OnePlus videos, because apparently OnePlus videos are the new Apple videos in terms of I don't mean to like jinx myself or anything, but like
numbers,
they do really well weirdly. And my sort of thinking is like making sure the logo's front and center and as big as possible, and the camera system is big, because the camera system is what makes the 8 Pro identifiable. But yeah, no, it's not a bad issue to have two really good thumbnails that you're picking between. It just makes it a bit more complicated. But
I think my thing too, or not even two, my thing originally was thinking in the same way that you're thinking. I want to look and respond to that, but I'm going to get distracted. So let me just say this first, which is I was also thinking about like the clickability of the thumbnail, and I think part of it for me was like, which happens with the undercarriage lights, but like that green right now is so much also like recognizable as OnePlus.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's also important to think about how where's my phone?
Oh, I moved it because it was loud.
Oh,
here. I put it in the corner. Put it in jail.
Like, you're viewing a thumbnail from this size, really. Like, it's a very small thing. The work chat is blowing up. But it's like it's gonna be that big, and it's like I think it's important that it tells the whole story from as small of a vantage point as possible. But like that, you're losing a bit of information that you didn't have before. That's why I always like to like make the thumbnail as small as possible in the window and see what I can still read. So that's my only thinking. I'm still flip-flopping, to be honest.
I'll see in a couple hours.
I so badly want to do that. It was a thought I had a while ago, but honestly, I don't know if I can. I don't know what the interface would be there. Maybe it's like every wallpaper is like $2, but you add 3 into the cart and it drops the price down to 5.
There may be a discount way to do it. Like, rather than treat it like it becomes a pack, it's probably like for every 3, it's a 25% off or something like that. I don't know.
Or something like that, yeah.
It might be abusable, but whatever.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I'm open to some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But
let's get into this.
Yeah, man. Let's hit it. Let's
Austin.
talk about some stuff.
No, don't show that one. Oh no, that's a secret. No.
Oh, I know.
Oh no, don't show Epidemic sound.
No.
You know our secret. We use Epidemic sometimes.
Can I don't want this to be red. Okay, there we go. So Austin, here included both the unedited and edited image. With the edited, I tweak the colors and add a little sharpness and fade to the image in Lightroom. Can't wait to hear.
I think that's the edited.
That's edited, unedited. Okay, so
now
let's look at unedited first.
I looked at this. Spoiler alert, because they come into my email. I do look at them, and I feel like, at least on my computer, the edited version. Did it lose a lot of resolution, or was it just like?
It could just be some processing thing.
Yeah, it feels like maybe it is. Either way, the color is really good. Like, even naturally, the color is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I like how true you remain to the actual source material here. I think you added sharpness to it without it, like, over fragmentizing. Is that a word?
Language is
apparently. Specific areas in the photo. Like, I've always found, like, when you try and introduce sharpening to, like, a tree or some shit, or, like, some bushes, like, it just gives it a really unnatural look. That's why I like to decrease clarity, and it gives it more of a bloom. But you do it in a way that it doesn't look fake. It looks good as shit. One thing I would maybe think about is changing the hue of the blue a little bit. Yeah. I think, ooh, hello stomach. It's leaning a little magenta in the blues. And I think if you went, not to sound like this, but like if you went a bit more towards the Tiffany end,
that's interesting.
I think it would balance out the magenta in the brush here. Just a little bit, because everything leans a little magenta right now. But I think if you take those blues and you just shift them a tad greener, that might pop the brush a tiny bit more.
You know what's interesting? I'm seeing the opposite, but I think it's actually for the same reason. So I think what's happening for me is that I was going to say your greens are a little too emerald for me.
Oh, like these?
Yeah.
These guys?
But I think that actually they might be pretty true to color. Like, you may have colored them right. And if you do what Brandon just suggested, by bringing up the blues in the surrounding colors, it actually might decrease the perceived amount of green in those trees. So what he's saying might help with what I'm thinking too. The fact that your blues are a little magenta and making them more on the green blue side will decrease the contrast between those blues and the green.
I think on the whole, your attention to contrast in this photo is right on. You're not crushing anything. It's very natural. And I think this is just a personal thing. Maybe consider cleaning up the water a tiny bit with the heel tool, like a tiny bit. Just like certain areas, like, I don't know if Can you see that? Yeah. Certain areas like this little stick thing that's in the water kind of detracts from this nice branch that's sitting afloat. But I love these little scattered ripple waves that are sort of directionally pointing you towards this, but like, you know, losing little elements like that better. I think you're onto something right now.
Cropping?
Crop is an interesting thing. Yeah. I think you can absolutely afford to lose some of this area. Because actually there's like a natural line that sits right here and even enters this space.
That's interesting.
And it's like, because you're paying attention to a third with the road, and I respect that, but I do believe that you can crop in right about here, make it either a square or even like a 3. This is probably a 3x4, but yeah, no, I dig this photo. Even if you wanted to go 16:9 and just like keep this area 16:9 and just like.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
You basically lose this.
That's
region.
What I wanted to lose. Yeah.
Yeah. You could also heel tool that out.
I actually was thinking. Lose this thing. Like if I wanted to crop, I'd probably lose this. I would go much more wide than it is tall. Focus on the river. But I'd also, because right now you have this really nice angular motion here, but your river is left to right. I might shift a little bit so that this is even more towards, a little bit more towards north to south, and that takes this off angle a little bit. So you end up cropping in like at a slight angle there, here and a slight angle here, and then everything is just off axis, because right now you have that exactly left to right, or exactly east to west, and then not north to south. But if you could take it just off axis a little bit, it gives a little bit more motion.
Now let me preface this with, this is not a Photoshop tutorial in any way, shape, or form. However, if you were feeling a little spunky, ooh, Jesus, play with finding a car online in a top-down perspective that you could fit into this road, or even like a bicyclist on this road. If you can find an image online that you can match in and color match,
or like a brontosaurus,
like a top down in this general region,
a drone shot of a brontosaurus. It's pretty cool.
But again, like as a photo, this is dope.
Yeah, very good.
I don't know if you mentioned like what drone you used, but
he has before, but I'm not sure what it was. You want to let us know what drone you use, I guess.
It looks good.
Something I like too, and this is very specific to, evidently it's actually not specific, but what it evokes in me is very specific to my very small corner of the world. You have these little red buds happening on these trees, and the fact that, the bridge looks really cool.
Yeah.
The textures of the bridge look great.
Yeah.
I want to, by the way, that reminds me that...
DJI Spark. Wow. That's impressive. Really impressive, dude.
That reminds me that I want to get better at repeating the question, because after the fact, if you watch this in post, you don't get the question. So,
yeah, that's true.
We've been doing this for 7 months now.
Oh, you did.
We've been doing this for a really long time, and we still forget that that's the thing.
You took this with DJI Spark, which is why I am impressed.
Gotcha. What I was going to say was just that the little red bits on these trees, evokes the Pine Barrens underbrush, the blueberries, right at the beginning of spring. I live in the Pine Barrens. I grew up in the Pine Barrens, which is in southern New Jersey, and it's just a very unique ecosystem that a lot of people really overlook as being like boring, and it is like incredibly gorgeous. And it's not just because I grew up here. But like,
not biased or anything.
No, I always thought that I would be somebody who's like, I gotta get the fuck out of my hometown. And like, yeah, my hometown itself is not perfect, but the area is like, has such a soul to it.
Yeah.
Man, the natural landscape is like, it's in all my music. It's like in my philosophy. And when I see things like these little red edges to the trees, I think of that home. So that's nice. It really means nothing to your edit, but it's a nice little thing to reminisce on.
I think one tool that I would suggest you maybe use is just the brush mask tool if you're using Lightroom or anything like that. Just going over this specific area to here and then this specific area to here. That way you can isolate the brush from the water. That way you can adjust the color of just this, and then, you know, vice versa if you want to adjust the color for the water and nothing else.
Right, let's hit the next two.
Let's do it.
We're getting you a bit
How
down.
far are we? Oh my god. Okay.
So Jackson's
Good
up
shit, dude.
next. Yeah, really good. Jackson with this mountain shot. He hasn't, but thank you.
No.
No.
Oh,
Very pretty.
that's nice.
Wait, are these 2 shots? Oh yeah, they are 2 shots.
What do you mean?
Look.
No, that's your.
What the fuck is this?
That's your background. Right there.
Oh. Okay.
Hold on. What the hell? Downloads. There we are.
I was gonna say, like, does a weird move on Jackson's part.
Was it a choice? I love just the natural feeling of this photo.
Yeah.
Like, it's just very open. I also like the clouds are perfectly done. And I think, like, symmetry wise, you're really balanced in this photo. I think the only thing that, like, I would maybe suggest is, like, I always hate leading lines that distract. So it's like these little lines right here. I don't know if this is, like, a natural thing that's happening or if it's like a
close
a
underbrush.
fence or something.
Focus underbrush.
Even like this right here, I would love if that was taken out. Like, that just distracts me from what's here. Like, I see that little glimmer of white. Yeah, no. I also think, like, your editing style for this specific photo, I don't know if you even really edited it much, or if this is just kind of straight out of camera, but it's really subtle and it works.
Yeah. And the framing, this is a really good example of framing as the tool for drawing with different types of mark. Like, your landscape is the marks, you know, and you have this, this only works because this is out of focus.
Yeah.
You know, if you tried to shoot this in such a way that everything was hyperfocal, you know,
Yeah.
that wouldn't work. But you have, like, this out of focus line, this really soft line, these really hard and well lit lines, and then this atmospheric atmospheric distortion, kind of like blue shifted background that's broken by this. Oh man, it's really good.
Like, it doesn't look real. It's
Yeah.
like it's too nature's dope.
Nature's dope.
You know, that's really all my thoughts there. I think in conclusion, I would just, like, that again, it's just kind of a personal thing. I would just clean these guys up, because otherwise, you know, it's just distracting from a really beautiful landscape. But yeah,
I think I've said this before, Jackson, who I may not be in the chat right now, but
is.
if you see this later, you shoot your photos with a look that feels like it's a still from a shoot, like from video. And I guess my question to all photographers, because I think this question is asked to photographers less than to other artists, maybe that's false, but, like, what is the intended viewing experience of this photograph, right? So, like, it's a super beautiful shot, and the crop, which is a very particular crop you've gone for, is really good and restricts the way that somebody can view it, right? So like I can view it that wide on my phone, it's good, but it's going to be like this tall, which makes it really hard. Or I can turn my phone depending on what I'm looking at, and it's still going to be pretty small.
Yeah.
And it's going to, but that wide is going to draw me into like, I want to see that in motion. So are you like, when you do that, when you do those wide shots, are you edging me? Like, are you like, I literally want to show you the video, in which case, show me the video, you know? But if it's just if it's just a photo, I want to know, like, what is your intended purpose? Like, is that a, you know, is that a really high resolution, like, glossy print? I mean, that's like, you know, this big, or like 12 feet wide, because that would be fucking gorgeous. I would take that. But I think that's just what I think about that a lot with photographers and digital photographers who represent their art digitally a lot. Is like, where is this heading, you know? That's a hard conversation.
No, it is.
It's like with the parallel with music is like, what is your intended listen, you know? And a lot of people go into like the audiophile experience, like, I only listen to things on the best headphones, blah blah blah. But it's like, there is a truth to that, right? Like, there's a truth to like, what is the listening experience or the viewing experience here?
Yeah.
Is it only through huge speakers, you know, shaking the entire house?
Right.
You know, this photo, does it warrant, like, what is the I talk about that a lot. Like, what is the magnitude of the viewing experience here? So think on that.
Hell yeah.
And I too will think on that. And thank you for your submission.
Good shit, man.
Coming in clutch on a couple minutes.
Okay,
Daniel.
Hi guys. English.
Well, we mumble to ourselves reading your email.
Sorry, I am terrible at that.
We'll take a look on your first minute and the intro, and then we'll talk on it for a few minutes, and then that'll be that.
Let's get it. Do I click this?
This is the brand new iPhone SE, but before we're jumping into the review, let's have a look at what's inside the box.
Is that felt? Looks like it's felt.
Oh, it does look like felt. What's that little thing in the bottom? Triangle thing.
Oh, that's the charger in your...
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
If you're looking at this iPhone and you're thinking,
we need to talk about your use of tungsten and how much I fuck with it. My voice just cracked.
It's okay. Brandon's still going through puberty. I am too.
Have I gone through puberty? That's the question. Nobody in the tech space uses tungsten well, and I am incredibly happy to see you use tungsten, and you're using it well. So yeah, no, that's just...
I've seen this before. That's because you have the iPhone SE has the same design as the 8, the same screen as the 8, the same camera system. The only difference is the processor, which is the same one as the iPhone 11, the A13 Bionic. It's a small phone for today's standards, let's not fool ourselves, especially when you compare it against the iPhone 11 Pro Max.
Dude, this looks great.
The screen is 4.7 inches and the resolution doesn't have those high numbers from today. It's just an HD screen.
I love that
but the
texture.
Screen is an IPS and it's really, really good. Doesn't have the brightness or the colors of the iPhone 10, for example, but if you compare it against other iPhones, it's a really good screen. We have stereo speakers, we have dust and water resistance, it's an IP67 rating. You have one camera instead of 2 or 3, and you have the Touch ID. The Touch ID is back. So as I said before, it's a phone that you already know, and it's a solid phone. Performance is great, as you could expect. So the processor is the A13 Bionic, the same one that you have on the iPhone.
I love your setup. I think the one thing I'd suggest...
Is that our lamp? It is our lamp.
It is our lamp.
Nice.
The one thing I'd suggest, like, in constructing A-roll is I never really enjoy seeing a light source directly behind the subject. If that was, like... If you were... a bit more center and the camera was shifted just a little bit to your right, basically you'd be at the midpoint between lamp and window. I think that, but then you might be losing that. I don't know. Either way, your set looks really great.
I think maybe your thing too is like it's like an oval behind the head, and you could just turn it and point it toward the wall a little and give like, I think it's Manhattan, give like your New York just a little bit of nice light, and it creates some extra fun information, but it's not like directly behind the head. Is that
I also,
what you're saying?
yeah, no, I mean, I also wouldn't completely hate just nixing the lamp back there.
Yeah. All the stuff
Although I really
in
do
your
like
background
the
is
tungsten there.
really fun.
Yeah, no,
You see
you're
like the
the phone mounts on the wall, the Apple TV remote.
little toys.
I think, and even your framing is solid. I think pay attention to headspace a little bit. And I think other than that, like, this is just a personal thing when I see this, but it's like, are you going for the third or are you going for center? Because it's just a little bit off. And I feel like just tie that closer to what it is a tiny bit. But, dude, it looks great either way.
Yeah, and it sounds good. And this is a thing for me. It's like a really important thing for me. Obviously, this thing sounding good is important. But like you go back and forth between, like you have a normalized volume, which is really nice. So you have like, your volume gets loud, there's B-roll, and then you get loud, and your volume cuts down. That's very important. And it's like, it's a lot of good shit.
At this iPhone and you thinking, the iPhone 11.
I also like
is an iPhone,
completely dig your on-screen presence.
Yeah.
Like you're holding my attention
very casual.
110%.
Yeah.
Especially if you are a hardcore.
I'm just gonna skim.
The thing
I'm
is,
sorry.
the battery is small. It's not an amazing this price point.
And we should.
When the light is good, processing
This is like
is
the.
basically the same. This camera starts.
This is like the trolley conundrum, but like.
Becomes really noisy, and the lack of.
We're gonna need to cut early.
Going to
Looking
the
at your
SE.
stuff because I want to be able to make sure that I get you into watching the next one if you are interested, because I know that you're in that tier. So we should cut in a minute if that's okay.
I'm subscribing to you. Okay, that's all.
The after show has subscribed.
You only have 10 sub, dude.
Yeah, you got 11.
You have 11 now. What the hell? You're making videos that are better than most of us. No, you're so onto something, dude. I think the only thing I would say about thumbnail here is throw a black flag or a or just like some foam core, black, above your camera. That way you kill off that reflection of the cord and anything else reflecting in the phone. It's just a nice black sheen. It gets rid of any reflections. That's a bit of a fun industry secret for top down. But yeah, no, dude, you're doing great things. I respect it.
Cool.
But
thanks for your first submission.
12 now. Hey, getting subs left and right. Cool. So are we?
Yeah, let's skedaddle. We got to set up the next one. We'll see some of you in the next one.
Yeah.
Couple minutes, and little teaser. In that one, we will actually be showing and doing the final edits on the OnePlus 8.
Going live later
final
today.
touches. So if you want to be in on that, that's going to be in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
In the office hours tier.
Color correction, sound, and all that jazz.
If you want some video editing.
Hell yeah. Okay.
See you guys next couple weeks from now.
Bye, friends.
Bye.